This isn't to say I haven't been grieving since that time, but in that moment, everything I thought I would ever feel about losing Ricky absolutely transformed into so much joy and excitement for what was to come because we have a purpose together. And I knew it, I felt it, and I was so energized in that moment.
Hi, this is Marta with Universal Power Tarot. And today we're doing a little podcast that I'm really excited about. And as always, I really hope that these messages encourage, elevate, and empower you guys. Hello, everybody. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi,
Hi.
Marta.
Okay, today we're exploring a subject that many people are curious about, but are often to speak about openly, the possibility that deep soul connections are possible and continue after death. My guest, Jennifer Wescott, shares her experience of losing her husband in the physical realm while continuing the connection emotionally and spiritually, and even as a collaborator in the unseen realms. Jennifer Wescott is the amazing author of A Cosmic Love Story, and she also has an Instagram handle called the I Am Diaries. I highly recommend you check that out, and her book. And today she's also advertising and promoting the companion to the Cosmic Love Story, which is called The Inner Guidebook. I'm presenting to you Jennifer Wescott. I'm really excited to have you on today. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Marta. I'm so touched already. My goodness. Oh, really, seriously, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I think what we're going to be talking about today is very, very pressing and interesting for the collective to know also, not just for us to talk about, but really to bring it out there because there's so much misconception about what is happening after death. And since you are still in touch with your beloved Ricky, my first question to you would be, when did you first realize that your connection transcended ordinary partnership?
hmm that was almost immediate. Like
Mhm.
it was the same day because I received a message. Um, I was very fortunate to have the experience of Ricky passing in our home, and not in a hospital or anything like that. So this is maybe like 9:30 a.m. and they cleaned him up. They put him on the bed. He was in a blanket, in the clothes I wanted him in. And I was allowed to have that time, all
Mhm.
that time with him. And there was so much going on and so much to do and so many people to let know and people in my home, paramedics, neighbors, friends. And um, so it wasn't until 3 o'clock in the afternoon I said, I'm gonna go lay down next to Ricky and have my time with him. And this is such a cool story, and it's so cool that we're having this right now with
Mhm.
Marta because I had a session with Marta shortly before Ricky passed, maybe 2.5 weeks before. And what came out was this guidance for Ricky and I to have create a sacred circle. And in that sacred circle, to connect our hands like this, specifically because we were told through Marta that we had so many connecting points that that weren't yet activated, and this would be incredibly powerful for us. And, we practiced that a couple times and we did that with a chant. We found our own chant, which was Ruka Dekudsha. In Aramaic, it means Holy Spirit. And on the out breath, Malkuta Deshmaya, which means kingdom of heaven. And so we did this maybe 2 or 3 times. And it was very powerful. Um, so when I went to lay down with him, I was guided to do that. Like
This is when he
immediately.
had passed on and you were with the body, just for the listeners to understand.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, I was just thinking that. Yes, going
Yeah.
back now to when I'm laying next to his body the day he passed, and I'm told to do that. And I take his hands and his fingers, and the weight of his body was so heavy that I could just feel his fingers like tight on mine. And I started doing the breath work, and I started the chanting, and I created the sacred circle. And I got all of a sudden I'm getting really dizzy. I can't see straight, and it's like the room is spinning. And suddenly there's a voice that is coming to me and through me at the same time, like partially first person, partially third person. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. Ricky is working in the causal realm, and you are working in the effectual realm, and together you are serving a grand purpose for humanity and the world. And then it went into like it was another voice, and I was speaking to Ricky. You are going to be helping me to ascend to the higher realms even while I'm in this body. It was like that, or yeah, or you will be. I first and third person, that memory is has faded a little bit. It's been almost 2 years. June 17th will be 2 years. But anyway, and then what came out of me was light language. That's never happened before. Like some people call it speaking in tongues, some people call it light language. I don't know what I was saying, but it was anchoring it. And boom, all of a sudden, and this isn't to say I haven't been grieving since that time, but in that moment, everything I thought I would ever feel about losing Ricky absolutely transformed into so much joy and excitement for what was to come because we have a purpose together. And I knew it, I felt it, and I was so energized in that moment. And that is a long answer to your question, but that it was that day I knew that we were um, we were going to be communicating and working together. What that would look like, I had no idea at the time, but yes.
That's incredible. That is so incredible. Thank you for your answer. That is incredible. Did you feel the same soulmate connection while he was still alive?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, the day I met Ricky, I felt him as my soulmate, and and I knew, and it continued to um, be shown that was definitely, we were definitely, are definitely true soulmates.
That's incredible. Very cool. And how would you say your spiritual path changed after his passing?
It was strengthened.
Mhm.
Um, another thing that came out of that session with you, Marta, and I'm sure I remember it much better than you do. But you were showing so much spiritual growth in my world in the next 10, 15 years. And when I shared the recording with Rick, and he looked at me and he said, I don't think I'm going to be around for that, Jennifer. I just don't
Yeah.
feel that. And I was like, what? I told him it was just his fear.
Mm.
That's just fear. And but it was part of him going into transitioning is part, and he actually is here for it. He is here
Yeah.
for it, just not in the physical body. And it has my whole focus because I am so focused on this continued relationship that it has taken my focus from Ricky being here physically and all the things we do physically to being together in a different way. And it has, and I knew immediately that I was going to be focusing more on the spiritual realm and my own soul and our soul connection than the physical realm anymore.
Wow. That's really fascinating. And I know, just to kind of tie into what you just said with receiving messages, I know there's a beautiful story around how a cosmic love story came to you. Would you like to elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh, yes, yeah. So, let's see. That came, there were two events. November 8th, after his passing the same year, 2024, I was woken up at 3 a.m. and I was told I had been reading about a new breath work that I wanted to advance to, um, from the science of breath. And when I was woken up at 3 a.m., I knew it was Ricky, and he told me, he said, get up and do that breath work you were reading about that afternoon, and we'll connect. So I did. I got up and I started doing it, and a lot happened in that let's say session or that time with him. But one of the first thing that he shared with me is that he said, you are going to be called to produce something quickly. And
Mhm.
don't worry, you'll be prepared when the time comes. So
Mhm.
I didn't know what that was. I was like, I like the idea of quickly.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what that was. Then December 20, 29th, I'm
Mhm.
walking the dogs. And I'm standing next to one of my favorite trees that we always walk by, and I call him Brother Tree. And I'm standing there, uh, and it's at 8 a.m. And I get the message. It's time to write the book. It's time to share. It's time to share the story, and you're going
Wow.
to write the book.
Mhm.
And I just thought it was way too soon. I'm like, how can I write? There's going to be so much happening more. How can I write the book? Now, and I mean, I kind of had a sense that I would write a book one day, but I did not nearly thinking it was this soon. And the interesting thing is, in an hour from that moment, I had a call with a friend of mine in Rick's, who is in Canada, and he is an intuitive. And we got on, and I was not going to tell him because I'm like, I really need to
Yeah.
think about this.
Mhm.
I'm not sharing this with him at all. And so I got on the and like 5 minutes into chit chat, he says, well, Jennifer, I just got one message for you today. I got it about an hour ago. It's time to share your story. It was the exact same words.
Yeah.
And I just about fell over. Like I
Yeah.
could not, oh my goodness. And so that entire session was around writing this book, and even the name of it, A Cosmic Love Story, came during that. It was a cosmic love something. I didn't know
Mhm.
yet what it was going to be, but that came later. And we figured out it would be a book series, And that's how I could get started now and still keep going as things unfold,
Mhm.
which is what I really didn't understand. So it is a book series.
That's amazing. So, so cool. And I know you got book one out already. That's the Cosmic Love Story. And you're publishing the workbook that goes along to transmute grief, which is called the Inner Guidebook, correct? And that's
Yes,
coming out on the 8th of June, right? You said
yes,
this
yes.
year. Yeah.
It's
So
being
people can
released.
pre-order it.
Yes, thank you. It's being released on June 8th, and it is the companion to A Cosmic Love Story. And it is, as you're saying, a inner guidebook that people can go through, and will take you through, it kind of is in three parts, and it takes people through identifying and facing their grief on a deep level. There's a lot of questions, and so you do your own journaling with these questions. So it's a
Yeah.
journal too and a workbook. And then the part two is identifying beliefs, because in my experience, what I found was as I'm grieving, I'm realizing that so much of my grief is coming from beliefs that I hold about death, about grief, about what happens, like death being an end. Um, and all of these things that actually I know are not the truth. So I'm noticing that when I'm grieving, it's because I'm swimming in these beliefs and programs that I have adopted as my own truth, but that I understand as not being the truth. They've been programmed into me, and I have accepted them. So identifying where these beliefs come from and that you have the beliefs, and then going from grief into joy based in truth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then so the third part is actually, so how do once you discover your beliefs, identify them, and then see the truth, how does that allow you to transform your grief and actually not just temporarily, but
Yeah.
overall, it's a shadow work, I mean,
Yep.
grief and
Totally.
joy is a shadow that
Yeah.
we are here to work through and to transmute so that we can be free and live
Yeah.
in joy.
I was just going to say, it sounds a lot like trauma work when you're doing the trauma work, because it calls you to do the inner work, because you cannot be in forgiveness and cannot be truly free unless you've worked through your emotions. Then they transmute into something else, and they bring tremendous gratitude. If when you're done the work, tremendous gratitude and joy. So this is not something, and I really want to clarify this here, and you can give me feedback on this. You
Mhm.
then have the forgiveness, you have the gratitude for the actual event that had happened. And this is when you know you really transmuted it. So this is not bypassing at all what you're describing, but doing the inner work to move through it, get very clear with yourself and with your beliefs, which ones are superimposed and which are actually the truth from your heart space, and then the higher guidance. So there's a huge difference between bypassing and seeing, oh, somebody is communicating with me, or I'm whatever, but I'm up here, and losing the grounding that
Yeah.
you actually have on this earth. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. And I would like to say, because just because I had that experience the day that he passed does not mean that my days didn't have grief, that I didn't go, like this. And And I did, and it was really important for me to see that and to go into myself. And it's not to dilute yourself or to bypass the grief. It is to recognize it fully, and that was a huge process, and it's different for everybody. I will say that, but when you really go in deep, and then you challenge the beliefs that have come from the external world, and you go inside for the truth, is that is really the only place that you will find the truth. And this is
Mm.
so empowering because one of the things that happens is that when you're constantly looking outside for truth, that changes every single day. Every single day, your beliefs can change. Just look at your life from the day you came in till now. How many believe,
Yeah,
and it's like, but when you really go in for the truth, because that is where the presence of the I am that I am is and will speak to you. And I will also like to say that you are not, uh, um, in my experience, the capability to communicate with Rick got stronger the more my connection with my own soul and the I am presence within me became, because it's like you're communicating soul to soul, because you can dilute yourself. Oh, what is it, the mind, or is it you're really getting that communication? And it might be subtle, but it is a big difference. And you will begin to
huge.
know when you are, you know, even kind of making up something in your mind that you might want to hear, or when you're really getting that boom. It's like
Yeah,
out of the blue, you weren't even thinking about it. It smacks you. And it was like, oh, wow,
yeah,
wow. So
yeah.
I don't know if did I answer your question or get
You totally did. And you actually already went into the next subject, excuse me, namely, how do you differentiate between wishful thinking? Because I know that a lot of skeptics would have those thoughts where they're like, how do you know? Like, what's the distinction, particularly that you're not, diluting yourself, as you were saying, but that you are actually receiving the messages from your past unloved ones? And, I'm not a doubter.
No, I know that, but there are people that wonder, if you
Yeah,
haven't
and
had
that's
that experience.
Yeah. And we're inviting that also, I want to say, because that's where curiosity starts, like when you have those conversations and
Yeah.
really bring also the uncomfortable questions and possibly to the surface, like to have a discussion. So I find that very interesting. If you want to if there is more that you can elaborate on, how do you personally perceive this, like messages from Ricky versus messages that could potentially originate in your own mind.
Right, right. Well, even just that, and I want to say this isn't for only for certain people. This is for
Hmm.
everyone. Like
Yeah,
we're all soul beings.
yeah.
And we all have this potentiality, and it is there for us and everyone. And the the passing of our loved ones that go into the other side and transition can be an enormous gift for all of us, because then there they are, like on the other side of the veil, seeing things that we're not seeing in this physical realm yet. And they're helping us to be able to bring that. They can, if we allow it and
Hmm.
we perceive it in that way, and we invite that without fear, because there's a whole concept that that it's not right to communicate with the dead. Well, that's the thing. They're not. Sorry.
Yeah.
If the consciousness goes on and lives on, we
Yeah.
live even not even without the physical body. Um, so anyway, back to that. I just really want to make it that it's not just for certain people. It's
Yeah. That's very important.
if you have the desire and you want to, it's there. And so, you know, I would say, just like I started, it happens very um subtly, and it will just kind of hit you in a moment of like I can remember a time when I was walking the dogs. Again, this happens a lot when I'm in nature and I'm walking the dogs.
Hmm.
And I out of the blue, I heard, "Will you marry me?" And I burst out laughing because I knew that he meant in every dimension of time and space, and I'm like, yes. And some people might say, well, that was wishful thinking.
Hmm.
I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but there are times when I am thinking about Ricky that I might think I'm conjuring something up.
Mhm.
Uh, and that might be so, and it is different for everybody, but I just every time that I knew it was not wishful thinking, it comes out of the blue and it comes quick.
Hmm.
And one of the most recent things that happened, and this happened after a while because this connection gets stronger. The more you practice being in touch
Yeah.
with your own soul, um, the easier it is for that communication to happen. And
Yeah.
I asked a question, and I actually was not expecting an answer. It was kind of let's just kind of for fun, let's see what happens.
Hmm.
And I'll try to share this really quickly. But there was I was on a in a workshop, and there were 500 people in this workshop. And the person giving the workshop,
Do
uh,
you want to say who it is or no?
yeah,
Okay.
Darius J. Wright. And my
Hmm.
friend introduced me to Darius J. Wright, who, if you don't know, he helps people have their own out of body experiences. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like, and my thought is that the ancients were doing this, you know, because how can you bring the kingdom of heaven onto earth without when you're only focused on the physicality of the body
Hmm.
and not
Yeah.
knowing that you can actually go to the other side?
Yeah.
You can leave your body and you have the authority and the power to say, I'm coming back to it, but I'm going to
Yeah.
bring more information. I'm going to bring more wholeness because I connected with my soul and then
Yeah.
bringing that back in. And
Mhm.
so I took this workshop of his, and in the workshop, it's on Zoom. He said he was kind of teaching you remote viewing, and we were practicing. He called it target practice. And he said, I have a word that I wrote. It's in an envelope. And whoever gets this word later on in the workshop, I'm going to be working with them one on one.
Mhm.
And I thought, I don't know, word, whatever. And like the workshop was really long. It was like 3 hours, and I was getting tired. My dad was sitting here listening to the workshop too. My dogs were hungry. So I went into the kitchen And I had actually got to speak, like, I got to share my experience with Ricky. I got to share that with the whole entire, people in the workshop. So I was very satisfied. And I'm in the kitchen, I'm feeding the dogs, and all of a sudden I hear people start shouting words. And I said, "Oh, they must be doing the word."
Mhm.
And even then I'm like, what would it be? I have no idea.
Mhm.
And so just kind of for fun, I said, "Ricky, what's the word?"
Mhm.
And boom, he showed me like a little movie clip. It was like a little movie clip of Darius saying the word freedom.
Wow.
And at first I was like, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, he just gave me the word.
Mhm.
And I came running back in. My audio was off. My video was off. Everyone's still shouting. I'm fumbling. I'm shaking because I know that it was true. And
Okay.
I hit the audio, the video. I said, "Freedom."
Mhm.
And it's like everything stopped. And Darius said, "Who said that?" Because with
Mhm.
500 people, you can't.
Yeah.
And, and I was like, and he said, "Who said that?" And I said, "I said it." And then he turned the card around and it was freedom. And
Wow.
he had also showed me that card. Rick not only showed me
Wow.
Darius saying it, he showed me the card. And I
Wow.
said, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that to me was the strongest um, validation,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
knowing that this is true.
Yep.
This is, and the most important thing out of that whole experience was for me to not doubt when I know inside that what I'm hearing from Rick or my own soul, to
Mhm.
not dismiss it, because we can always dismiss it. And I realized in that moment, looking back, that there were times when things like that happened and I dismissed them. Oh, maybe I'm just wishful thinking.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was like proof to me. Here, let me prove that this is more than what you're giving credit to.
Yeah.
And that is, and it's also not giving so much power to the person on the other side, but to yourself too. I also
Yeah.
learned from that this is a gift that I have to be able to receive it, and to not dismiss that gift and that power either. So, you come to your own people. There are naysayers. I highly recommend that you do not share these things with people that you know will probably doubt and have
Yeah.
negative responses, because it will affect you. Keep
Mhm.
it to yourself, or only share with those that support that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ask for validation, ask for
Yeah.
things like that. You will receive it. Nothing becomes manifest in the physical realm without first happening in the spiritual. And then that is why I was told he will be working in the causal realm. We're all working in the causal realm.
Mhm.
But he's a little bit more over there, out of the physical body, and more expansive than being
Yeah.
a physical body. It's a little bit harder. But once you realize that you really are spirit working in the causal realm, and that everything you create what happens in this universe, in your universe.
Amazing. So you're talking about sovereignty and self-empowerment through such events as the passing of a loved one, and through understanding your own truth and your own power so much better, leading into collective awakening. How would you say understanding what you just said and integrating that and bringing it to earth, the messages, the information, because it's, to me, it's about integrating. It's not about being up there and swirling around in concepts. It's, yes, it's like taking 100 workshops but not integrating it. That's
Right.
not where it is for me. It's like literally you receive it and you're integrating it into earth. So how would you say, how would that, for example, the topic of grief, of hardship in the spiritual evolution, how much is that influencing, or can that influence humanity's ascension at this time in understanding certain concepts even?
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you, because that really leads into something that the integration
Mm-hmm.
process. So much of our personal development industry has been
Uh-huh.
focused on becoming.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes. Yes.
it's all based in not good enough
Mm-hmm.
and fixing, and it will never end. As
Mm-hmm.
long as you are feeling that you need to become better and to fix something, and or to become more light filled or more in love, and the my feeling is what is happening right now as a collective, and it is that we're realizing who and what we are. And that is, first, we are soul, we are spirit, first and foremost. And we came from the one, from the all, and we are having a human experience. And part of the human experience is a belief system that we're not good enough. Um, and as Darius says, we came to experience that which we are not.
Mm-hmm.
So then what are we?
Mm-hmm.
Then we are infinite love. We are where we came from, and the rest is about the illusion of separation. So those are the things that keep us separate from our true nature.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that true nature is pure love. It's absolute intelligence. We have just forgotten, and we're about to remember. And what will
Mm-hmm.
help us to remember? Well, we are remembering. We're not about to. We are remembering. And and the more we can realize that this is who we are, and we are not all the things that say we're not good enough, um, then that will be the collective, that will be the ascension, that will be, it's really the expression, allowing the full expression of the I am presence within you, God, to express fully and be glorified in this experience and through each of us. And one of the things that really has been becoming more and more clear to me in my own experience, because I'm a people pleaser. I like to save people. That is a also kind of a another hierarchical, like, who am I? I'm no really, like, Yeshua came here to show each of us how to save ourselves, and to actually, it's not even to save ourselves, it's to free ourselves. And we are each responsible for our own freedom. And we're not responsible for other people's freedoms. They are, and because when we try to take responsibility for their freedom, we're actually enslaving them because they are where they are in their process. This is just something that I'm seeing right now. It's maybe not the truth for everybody, and it depends on where you are, but the the more we are focused on external things to free us, the more kind of enslaved we get, or the more we are.
I love it so much. Sorry, I just have to say real quick, you're helping so much right now. Like, thank you for saying these things.
Okay, good.
No, it's incredible.
I
Yeah,
don't want
no.
to be preachy. It's just like these are things that are becoming more and more clear. So if you think about it from this way, if we come from the all, this great central sun of the all, and we are all part of the great central sun, and we fragment it down into separate forms of light, and we're reflecting off of each other, right? In relationships. So here we are on this earth having relationships and duality as reflections, so that then we go back up into oneness of light. And if we continue in the friction of, well, he did this and she did that, and it's all projection, right? It's a kind of a false projection. But then when we just focus on our own freedom and freeing ourselves, then that's the greatest thing that we can do for each other. Because if we're all doing that, then guess what? We're not focused on our separation. We're focused on our oneness. There's this little decree I do every morning: setting men forever free with wings of cosmic victory. And I started saying, I free myself with wings of cosmic victory, rather than setting myself free with wings of cosmic victory, rather than setting men forever free, because that's all of humanity, and it's almost dispersing the power so much that it can't be contained. And we're containers, we're temples. So when we put that power into our containers, it's so much more powerful, not just for us, but the world and the people around us. So if we're all doing that, like, does that make sense? I feel like I'm
It
going
makes
on.
perfect sense. No. It makes perfect sense because you cannot give from an empty cup either. And it's like that what you're focusing on is what becomes. So you need to really focus, honing in that energy and then sending it out, directing it in different endeavors, whatever that is, whether you bless humanity with it or whether you're bringing something else in for the highest good of all. And that's what it is.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's a huge shift. It's subtle, but it's huge.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're in for something really big. And I believe the topic around death and what is actually happening after death, like transcending and then being in communication with passed on loved ones, or channeling down information as I am doing also, is a very, very important step to really waking up to who we actually are. I really believe that. And I've spoken to a couple of people, not on the channel, but privately, about that very topic. And it's super intriguing to me. And yeah, if I can ask you one last question, please. What was your intention, if there was one, in writing the Cosmic Love story? I know that you received the message to do it, but now that you finished it and that you finished the inner guidebook, what is the intention with those two books?
That's such a great question. You know, the the subtitle is Shattering the Illusion of
Mhm.
Death and Communicating with My Beloved. The shattering of the illusion of death is also shattering the illusion of separation. And so this is kind of wild, but where I saw this going, um, it's not where I thought when I started the book. The intention was just for people to realize that there's so much more beyond the grief,
Mhm.
and going into the grief and um, really allows the opportunity to uh, transmute through the fire grief into pure love and joy that is eternal, that you will never go back to the grieving just because you had oh, now that was another memory and there I'm back in, and that will happen. It's part of the
Mhm.
process. But there is a place where you're beyond the grief.
Mhm.
The other place that after, or maybe towards the end of writing this, is I want to take this to the point where we are realizing our own immortality, even while we're in these bodies. Um, and part of that is the books. Excuse me a second, I'm gonna grab one.
Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
Reading this book series, The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East.
Uh-huh.
And these are humans who are living as immortal beings. They're fully in their God power, if you will, their I am presence. They have all the powers to bilocate. They walk around as living light. No, we're talking no electricity needed. Your light fills a room. And all of these powers, it is, this is what I feel that we came to do, and what is meant by the kingdom of heaven is within you, which is what Yeshua told us. And therefore, bringing forth the kingdom of heaven on earth happens through us. We are the kingdom, and we have and this is also why death is an illusion, because the what brings about decay that leads to death of the physical body are our beliefs, and we are meant to we can live eternally in these bodies, and we can also decide to leave them and take them with us, but it's all choice. It's all in our own authority. And this is so I'm not going to go in anymore, but that's my intention. That
Mhm.
that is
That
what has
is
become the intention of this book and the books to come.
that is very, very beautiful. And thank you for sharing that with us. I'm so happy for a lot of people. It's probably a little bit mind blowing or outside their current mental, um, how do you say? It's almost like a little bit of an awakening is what I'm trying to say, that we're all going through, because it's always about expanding our mindset and our beingness. And in doing so, we're letting more in of the light that we inherently are and hold in this physical vessel. And with that, more and more of what you just spoke about is actually possible. And like a topic that you also touched on is, it depends on where you are and the information that you're able to hold and the amount of light you're able to hold in terms of belief system. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's
Yes.
massive. So thank you so much for writing this book. Thank you for, transcending the belief of grief and that we have to stay stuck in one place when we don't, when we have the option to transcend and to have beautiful communication with our passed on loved ones. Thank you for talking so honestly and openly with us today and sharing your own journey that is ongoing and that I'm blessed to witness also. Thank you so much. And is there anything else that you would like to share, or do you feel like that is concluding today?
No, I maybe just want to address what you said. Maybe that's like a little bit mind-blowing, but I just want to say you're not going to find this in the mainstream media, but there are many people out there living this in this already and
Yeah.
experiencing it. And that is what this book is about. These books,
Mhm.
there's 6 of them. And these are what I had read through them 3 times before it was really like because at first I was like my mind was blown. Then I'm like, wow, this is what we're capable of. And oh well, why aren't I believing that this is possible if this is possible and that I'm not seeing it as my a potential reality for myself and the people around me. And
Totally.
so I just wanted to share that. I know maybe it's out there. It's out there, but there we
No, but
are.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And like I said, those
Yeah.
that have the ears to hear and eyes to see will understand exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. And yeah, and that's it. Exactly.
Mhm.
So and what else? I just want to say you can find my books on Amazon, which I think Marta will put in the
We'll
link.
put the
And
links down below for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And then and also my website. You can order them already there.
Mhm.
Both books.
One is already out, right? And the next one you can pre-order. Like the
Yep.
Cosmic Love Story is out, and the Inner Guidebook will be published on the 8th of June, but you can already pre-order yours.
Yeah. Yes, in the Kindle version. Yes.
Yeah,
And you can order it through my website as well.
amazing.
So,
Okay,
which is Jennifer at jenniferwescott.com.
okay, wonderful.
And,
Amazing.
and I want to
Thank
thank you, Marta, for your great work. And
you.
thank you for having me on here and sharing this and just, yeah, I can't say enough about the work you're doing for
Aw.
humanity and the light that you're shining. And I'm so grateful for you. And thank
Aw,
you.
likewise, my dear. I love you lots.
I love
Thank
you
you so
too,
much. All
my
right. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Leave your own experiences down below if you feel like it, if you want to share your own experience with grief, if you want to, share how you transformed it, if you're in touch with past unloved ones, like what's happening on your end. We'd love to know. And it's also starting the conversation, like within the community. We're sending you lots of love. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.